My name is Regan Allen. I'm the chairperson for Community Safety in the Western Cape Provincial Parliament. I trust that those online are feeling welcomed already. Please allow me to officially again welcome all the members, the representatives from the National Commissioner's Office. We have received communication from the Provincial Commissioner's Office that Major General Beaton is with us today. Also members of the Department of Community Safety, PMG, the media, and all other guests following on YouTube. Thank you so much for being with us. I will now allow members of the committee to introduce themselves for the record. Thereafter, members of the South African Police Service, and then members of the Department of Community Safety for brief introductions. Over to you, members.
Good morning. Thank you, Chair. Lorraine Botha.
Good morning, Chairperson. Ferlin Christians.
Good morning, Chair. Ms. Sulikama.
Good morning, Chairperson. Wendy Philander.
Good morning, Chairperson. This is Gillian Postman.
Good morning, Chair. Melika Yatrago.
I have also noted the Chief Whip of the official opposition. Are you still with us? Member Lekker?
Good morning, everybody. I'm still here.
Good morning and welcome to you as well. I will now hand over to members of the South African Police Service to introduce themselves for the record.
Good morning. It's Major General Beaton. I'm from the Western Cape. I'm representing General Patekile. Thank you.
Thank you so much, General, for being with us. We have received communication from the Provincial Police Commissioner's Office extending his apology. So thank you so much for representing him today. Is there any other SAPS members, officials in the meeting? I will now note members of the Department of Community Safety.
Good morning, Chairperson. It's Yashina Pillay, Head of Department, and I am joined by some of my colleagues. If you will allow me an opportunity to have them introduce themselves, please. Thank you.
That's all in order. Thank you, Advocate HOD for Community Safety in the Western Cape. Thank you for being with us. Docs officials, if you can go.
Good morning, Honorable Chairperson. I'm Louis Brown, Department of Community Safety, responsible for police oversight in the province. Thank you.
Good morning, Chairperson. I'm Mary Marshall, Acting Chief Director, Secretariat for Safety and Security.
Once again, members, SAPS representatives, docs, PMG and the media, thank you for being with us. As I've stated, we have received an apology for Major General Patekile, which has been duly noted. Members, we have been doing online meetings for a number of months now. I will just reference the ATC from the 17th of April for your noting regarding the proceedings today. Members, it is now 9:05. And as per the agenda, the purpose of the meeting is for a briefing by the South African Police Service on the current backlog and related matters of the Forensic Science Laboratory, specifically here in the Western Cape. We have extended the invitation for this meeting on the 4th of March to both the Acting Provincial Police Commissioner and the Divisional Commissioner for the Forensic Services to unpack the causal factors to the backlog and to establish a way forward as part of the committee's oversight role. This follows numerous complaints received by the Provincial Department of Community Safety even members of this committee who has engaged residents in the province. And even more concerning, when noting the extreme levels of gender-based violence in the province and in the country. For our way forward, let me just get my, in order to move forward, I see that Major General Beaton is in the meeting, but for the record, at the time of today, as of now, we have not received confirmation from the National Office. However, it has been received by the National Office of SAPS, but neither a presentation was sent. Again, for the record, the letter was sent on the 18th of February with a follow-up on the 26th of February, which was the reply date for confirmation. Again, yesterday, another follow-up. There has been an acknowledgement yesterday, but no confirmation. Major General Beaton, can I get an understanding from you if you are maybe privy to any information or if you will be presenting to us?
Okay. Chair, I can just indicate that that I was not requested to present anything. So I was under the impression that the officers of the National Commissioner, or that some of the generals might do the presentation. So I was invited to to represent General Patekile as a representative of the Western Cape. Thank you, Chair.
No, thank you so much. I have received communication from a number of members on this committee regarding this important topic that we wanted to discuss today. And members, you would recall, if we look back to December, the backlog stood at 117,736, of which the Western Cape had roughly 39,400 in terms of DNA testing. I know 2 days ago in the NA Portfolio Committee on Police, it was revealed that the case exhibit backlog is now standing at 172,000 nationally. Hence, this is a topic that we wanted to exercise our oversight role over. I would now wish to get comment from any member that would want to make any comment at this stage, but I will request, it is now 9:10, if I can ask our procedural officer if he is able to get hold of the relevant office in order to just get any verbal indication from them, if that is okay with members. But I will first see Member Bosman and then Member Botha.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and once again, good morning, colleagues. Chair, I just want to check whether Major General Beaton is in any position to respond to some of the questions that this committee has with regards to the backlog at the forensic laboratory as it pertains to the Western Cape, because that could perhaps assist us in moving forward by getting answers to some of the questions we have. And I know in the letter that you sent, requesting today's meeting, some of those questions were put in that letter. So if the colleague from the Provincial South African Police Service, the Office of the Commissioner, is able to answer those questions, that might assist us whilst we are waiting for national government or national SAPS to respond to the invitation. I also, Chair, think maybe what we need to do is ask the General online if he could perhaps outline what the process and protocol is in terms of who is responsible for the forensic services. Because from my understanding, based on a previous interaction we had, and I think it was during the annual report of the Western Cape Police Service, it was mentioned that that function is not a provincial competency within SAPS and is directly managed from Pretoria. So it might be that we need just a little refresher in terms of how that works and whether there are any aspects of accountability that lies with the provincial police service when it comes to this very important service that determines the outcomes of criminal cases as well as affects people's lives, because we know we've heard stories from people where bodies are still lying, waiting for samples to be tested, and it's sometimes more than 2 years. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you so much, Member Bosman. Member Botha.
Thank you very much, Chair. I just want to check through you with Major General Beaton. What was his exact brief, Chair, in terms of his representation in this committee today? And I also want to check whether he has received this brief from his authorities in writing. And then with regard to your question, with the procedural officer now calling SAPS, no, it is not okay for him to do it now.
I hear you.
Thank
you
you
so much. Thank you so much, Member Kama.
No, thank you very much, Chair, and greetings to you and the members once again, and the HOD and the General. Chair, I think my question is partly covered by both the two members, Chair. Just to maybe perhaps add, especially on what Member Potter was asking, I want to understand, perhaps even you can assist, Chair, in terms of what was our, because the focus is in the Western Cape. So I also don't want to take it that even the feeling of the acting provincial commissioner was that he's coming to the meeting just to listen. There must have been a preparation that is conducted towards this meeting, because our interest, even though it would have to be a national competence, but I mean, SAPS is one institution, and our interest is on the Western Cape, and one would have expected that at least there would be some level of preparation on that side, especially looking at the questions that would have informed even the presentation, whether coming from national or not. It speaks about the Western Cape, it speaks about the padlock in the Western Cape, and it's a very important topic, Chair, as we are saying, because even in relation to the current issue of your gender-based violence, our major challenge even there, it's issues of DNA, where you'd have cases running for many years, even 2 years. Others would even be taken out of court because there's a delay on the part of the lab. So it's a very important topic, and would have loved even SAPS to take it as in that light, as serious as it is. So I just want to get that understanding, Chair, as to what was the brief. Other than that, I do not even support a notion that says let General Beaton brief us, because I don't want us to, again, because he has clearly said it, that the impression he got from the office to represent the office in the meeting, and that National was going to present. So I don't want us to put him in a corner and he in turn give us information that is not really confirmed as to where we are today. So I really want to get that understanding, Chair, and propose that perhaps we venture into how do we move forward from where we are, because we really need to play this oversight role over this particular issue. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you so much. Members, I have taken the input. I would also, in terms of what Member Botha indicated, agree with that. In terms of, we have sent out a notice. There has been numerous follow-ups, and just yesterday again, it was acknowledged for the first time, even though the Provincial Western Cape came back to us timelessly, and the acting PC informed us of his unavailability, but then indicated that he will be sending out a representative. So Major General Beaton is with us today. So based on the comments, I'm going to allow Major Beaton for any remarks at this time. Can I note you, Major General?
Yes, Chair, thank you. Thank you very much. I will maybe start by answering on the briefing that I have received and whether it was in writing. I received an email from the acting PC instructing me to attend this meeting. And then in that email, it was clearly stated that officers from the national office will do a presentation to this meeting today. Okay, that's on the one question. The other question is, it is indeed so that the forensic services, the lab in the Western Cape resorts under it's a national competency. But the provincial commander of the lab do attend our meetings to inform us as to the backlog and what they are doing to address the backlog. I also at the Blue Downs cluster invited one of the senior officers to my meeting and to ask him to give progress because obviously it's a concern to us also. It impacts on our conviction rate, and we need to improve the service to our clients. So in terms of their responsibility to the province, it's clear that they need to inform us about reasons for the backlog, and then if and when they escalated all their challenges to the national office, who they fall directly under. Thank you, Chair.
Member Bosman, is your hand still up or is that a new hand?
Sorry, Chairperson, it's a hand from the previous thing. I've got a new version of Teams on my computer and I don't know where everything is yet.
No problem, Mr. Bosman. Major General Beaton, thank you for that remarks. Members, we are now in a very tricky situation. Major Beaton expressed his view in this regard. We have not received any confirmation from SAPS, and we would then have to take steps on what we would do. I do know, and I want to reiterate again, members of this committee has been emailing me. There has been confirmations, conversations around this. And one thing that also gave rise is regarding the private partnerships with laboratories, because we wanted to have an understanding on whether that is indeed feasible and what is the validity thereof, and how that process works in terms of taking a case to a private lab, because if that process is merely based on a matter that if a case is receiving media attention or there's enough MPs or enough community organizations reaching out, then that particular case could potentially be taken to a private lab. So there is serious concerns. The backlog is increasing by the day, and as such, we would then have to take certain resolutions today in the absence of SAP's national FCL. Before I note to get any comment from the Department of Community Safety, is there any other member that would want to say anything at this stage? Member Bosman?
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I think it's very difficult for us to take any resolutions if we haven't received the information, because we are currently working off information that we get from constituents and complaints that we get from members of the public and from stakeholders. And we're also working from information that SAPS has put in the public domain through their participation at the National Assembly's Committee on Policing. I think part of what we need to understand is how this entity actually operates and what are some of the structural failures that have taken place within the FCL unit within SAPS, because we know this is not a new thing. It's been coming on for years, And we also know from what we've read in the media that there are serious issues with not just procurement and the procurement of the incorrect equipment to do the work. And there's been issues of allegations of corruption. But we need to understand what all of those are, and we also need to understand what some of the consequence management is. Because at the moment, as I'm sitting here, I don't have a very clear understanding of the structure of the FCL unit. I don't understand all the sections within that unit and how many of those sections operate from the from the Plattekloof lab where they are. Our focus is on biology in that section because that's where samples for DNA testing is done for some of the horrendous crimes that we've heard from. But we really need to also understand what are these other sections doing? How do they complement the work, or how do they detract from the work of the biology section? And then we need to get into an understanding of the operations as well, to get a holistic view of what's going on. Because if you remember, Chair, one of the requests I put is that we actually visit the facility as well. And Member Christian said at the time that even when this committee visited in the last term, it was very limited in terms of what it was shown. So what a feeling I'm getting is that there's a lot of secrecy around how this part of the police service operates, and not a lot of information is shared. And judging by the way that the national directorate responsible for FCR is responding to this committee, they don't seem to be very keen to share with us some of the details and the core aspects of their work, because this is an important part of what the police does. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much. What you have been mentioning was part of the brief, but we can definitely then extend that, and then after once we do our committee business for the day, we can then take steps in order to, if we should re-invite FCL, or whatever step we must take thereafter. But let me first see from the Member Christians, your hand is up.
Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you. I think I want to concur and agree with the other members that spoke. But I think maybe the important thing is, for me, it's about, we serve due to being elected in our positions, and we represent the public when we, come across all these questions and you read in the papers. But I think the important thing for us, Chairperson, is irrespective of what happened now, that we not damage the relationship, but see how can we, maybe it was oversight. Don't let us now, let us get an opportunity from the national office to see, what went on, and see how we can build that relationship going forward. It is disappointing, but as the Major General said, he came and he thought that national office was going to present. So my plea is that we do this constructively, because it's always in the interest of the public. We are the ears and eyes of the public, and the concerns they have is the concerns we have. So we don't have a hidden agenda or anything like that. It's just because it is a contentious point. But I would then ask the committee that we look at how do we build this forward, and if there was misunderstandings, then we can address it. But if we need to address issues, we will. But I'm just asking on my side, let's move forward and try to see how do we resolve this amicably. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Member Christians. I think that is in line with the ethos of this committee, in where we would want to foster those valuable relationships with SAPS. We've seen it with the previous commissioner as well, where we've been able to foster those relationships in order to have a better working relationship. So thank you so much for that. Member Malikaya Keiko, I see you.
Thanks, Chair. Yeah, let me echo what Member Christians has just said. I understand the frustration from the side of Member Bosman, and maybe previously the kind of background that we have with the department as far as to the issues of trust and cooperation is concerned. But like Member Christian has said, let us not throw in the towel yet. Indeed, if for us to be able to resolve way forward, we would need information. And we need this department to come back to us and be able to make a proper presentation, because to be honest, that is the outcry that is out there, that cases are not getting finalized and everything else. And it's most of them is critical and sensitive cases. So my appeal is that let us give them a chance to come back and make a presentation as expected, and then we take it from there. Thanks very much, Chair.
Good day, members. Are you able to hear me? I just had to switch my device.
We
can
are.
hear.
Thank you so much. I'm on my phone at the moment. Member Malikai, I didn't get the last bit. You were halfway through, sir.
All right. Sorry. No, what I was saying, Chair, is that frustrating as it may be, let us agree that we need that information in order for us to formulate some resolutions around challenges and everything else that is facing that facility. And therefore, let's try to be patient. I understand the kind of lack of cooperation that we have received. Let us assume and give a benefit of a doubt that it was not deliberate, and then they will come back better prepared next time. But we are not going to mince our words to say we are disappointed today, because we expected a lot from the department as far as to such a sensitive matter is concerned in terms of presentation. And then they would come here, national things is provincial, provincial things is national. It's just it's that kind of confusion. So we do need that information, and therefore we don't have a choice, but they must come back and present to us. Thanks, sir.
Thank you so much. Like members have stated, it has been disappointing because we were struggling to even get today's date due to an extremely packed March program already. Member Bosman, did your hand go up again now?
Yes, Chairperson. If you allow me, I just want to say, I think we also have to be aware of the fact that we are always the ones compromising. And this is not the first time that we've compromised when it comes to this specific entity. And I think that's also maybe then something that we need to charge you to address, is to find out what is the best way to communicate with the South African Police Service, because we've built up a wonderful relationship with the Western Cape South African Police Service. And I think we need to then look at how do we build on that and perhaps use our colleagues in the Western Cape to form a better relationship with our colleagues in the National Police Service, because ultimately this is the Parliament of the people of the Western Cape. And the people of the Western Cape have just as much right to hear from national entities when it pertains to issues that affect the Western Cape. So I think we must just be careful that we're not the ones constantly compromising, because what we are then doing is we're compromising the quality of oversight that we're doing on behalf of the people of the Western Cape. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Member Bosman. We can definitely attend to our actions and our recommendations directly after this. But we have invited the Department of Community Safety as well. Is there any input from the department at this stage? I know the department has received a number of complaints as well before the committee then deal with its recommendations and actions, but I'll also see that if there's any last words from the general that is online. HOD, I see you.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Chairperson, I note the spirit in which we are dealing with the matter. It's obviously of serious and alarming concern for the province as a whole, and I'm sure for the SAPs in the province as well, and the country. that the forensic case exhibit backlog is now over 172,000 cases, and the backlog in November stood at 118,000 cases nationally. So it would be very good to have a perspective for the Western Cape, for us to know exactly what we are dealing with. Also, in terms of the challenge that we're currently facing is going to impact seriously on the function of the criminal justice system as a whole, which will now cause the backlog, within our courts. It's going to cause overcrowding of our prisons because awaiting trial prisoners would not be able to appear due to a backlog in the forensic labs. So if possible, Chairperson, I think it would be good if we could have an engagement set up as soon as possible, so we could have a clearer picture for the SAPs in the province as well, to know exactly when the required procurement will be done, so that the labs can address both the backlog as well as effective functioning of the criminal justice system as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you so much, HOD. Members, we will be dealing with our recommendations before I adjourn the meeting, but I would want to again thank Major General Beaton for his attendance here today and allow him if there's any concluding remarks from his side. Major General.
Thank you, Chair. Nothing further. Thank you for allowing me to observe, and I treasure the inputs of everyone, and that they have the interest of all the citizens at heart. It is really close to my heart to hear that. Thank you for that.
Members, before we excuse SAPS and the department, Member Bosman, I see your hand is up.
Chair, I think something that should also be noted for the record is that the lab in Plattekloof at the moment, even though they're working without the requisite equipment and materials to get some of the backlog sorted, the lab is also operating under COVID protocols. So they only have a 50% capacity of staff working, and they've got a roster at the moment that allows some staff members to stay at home for a week or a few days, and then another shift comes on. So I think this matter needs to be escalated, and I think we might need to find ways within National SAPS and through you work with the Programming Authority to make sure that this matter is escalated as soon as possible, because we have to be mindful of the fact that the unit or the facility in Plattekloof does not just serve the Western Cape. It also serves the Western Cape and the Eastern Cape, as well as the Northern Cape. So it's really not just a specific problem that pertains to us. It pertains to other provinces as well. And it also impacts cases where crimes take place in this province and the perpetrators move to another province. So I really just want to, while we still have General Beaton online, perhaps appeal also to our colleagues in the provincial SAPs to come with some ideas of how we can make this happen, to ensure that we get the information, and perhaps after this meeting, if we can just get the presentation and the report, and then we schedule a follow-up so that we also have time to look at that information and to try and understand. Because like the other members said, we want to understand, and we want to be able to assist and to help. We want to also be able to give feedback to our constituents so that we're not just coming to committee meetings to discuss the issue, that we're also part of the solution. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Members, I trust that we are on the same page. We agree that DNA testing is critical to the successful prosecution of criminals, and this issue deserves our urgent attention. We will then undertake our actions and our way forward. But once again, thank you to Major General Beaton for his attendance. Please convey our appreciation to the acting PC as well. We will definitely be in contact as soon as possible and keep you informed on the steps moving forward. But thank you so much to the department as well. I will now excuse the department, the officials, as well as SAPS from our meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you for the invite.
Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you. Members, my internet is still flashing in front of me, but I'm on my phone. Thank you so much for your input. Thank you so much for making yourselves available. We do know when we tried to get this meeting, we wanted to obviously address the issues at hand that members spoke about, but also to see how we can get SAP's national year. Special thanks to our procedural officer when we embarked on the journey of getting them here. We had to work as quickly as possible. So thank you so much, Wasim Matthews and and Mr. Ben Daza. Members, we will now deal with our resolutions, not resolutions, with our actions and recommendations. I've taken the one from Member Bosman, where I will be tasked with a way forward to deal with the programming authority in order to put this on the agenda as soon as possible. We can also increase the scope of our brief. Is there any views or recommendations from members at this time? Wasim Matthews?
Chair.
Chairperson. So sorry, Member Botha, I couldn't see.
I see, and I just want to alert IT also that I deliberately now put up my hand for a few seconds, and I see that I have an invisible hand because the chair is not noting me. So this has now happened a few times during your short meeting, Chairperson. So I'm just alerting you to that. And with everything that has been said by my colleagues before me, I want to add, and as a recommendation, that this committee takes this meeting to SAPS and not invites SAPS.
Thank you so much. We will get information from our procedural officers. I do know, I think I know what you mean by that, but thank you so much, Member Bosman.
Chair, I want to support that proposal by Member Botha that when we do have our engagement with SAPS, that we have this meeting at their lab in Plattekloof.
We can put that request to them. Members, are you all in order with that?
Yes, supported.
Yes,
Chairperson.
Member Christians, I see your hand.
Yeah, Chair. I think it's. I'm going to support that fully, and I think the important thing is, if we have it at the lab, we get a time that that will suit all of us, and we go, and I think that's proactive, being proactive. And if they refuse, we can look at other measures. But I think if the engagement is there, then they're forced to give us a proper presentation, and we are then there. So I think that's a great suggestion, and I fully want to support it. So we're not going to preempt anything. We believe that they're going to invite us there, and we're going to go with a targeted approach. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much, members. I trust our procedural officer captured that as a committee we resolved that we will undertake an oversight visit, which will then include a briefing to the Plattekloof FSL venue. I trust that's in order. So, members, I know March is an extremely tight month. Can I get an understanding from members now already, considering the issue at hand and considering March, would members be open to, if I discuss with our procedural officer and with programming, if there is a possible date that falls on a constituency day, would members be for it or against it?
Chair, I can only speak for myself and not for others. but I am open to reschedule my diary during that period to fit in if the committee embarks on the oversight visit. So it's a yes from me.
Thank you so much. I saw a couple of thumbs up. So Member Botha, thank you so much. Member Christians, is that a yes from you?
Chair, if you talk of Slip Day, you're talking about a Monday. Is that what you're referring to?
Or Friday?
Yeah, you see, Chair, unfortunately, I won't, because we usually, and I support the committee if they go for that. It depends, of course, now what date, because, you know, my entire March is booked out Fridays and Mondays, because being the only representative of the ACDP in the Western Cape, I'm in different parts of the province every weekend. So I usually go on a Friday, come back on a Monday to make it worth my while. So, but I support them, and wholeheartedly, if that is the date that's available, I would support that, but I'm not available. And now the problem is also, Chair, that, you know, we have by-elections coming up, you know, and the involvement there. So we know it's a critical year for every political party, and especially as for me, as being one member, it's extremely, I'm extremely busy, but I would support the committee 100% if they take a consideration. I'm not available.
Members, I am just opening up my the latest program. The reason why I'm wanting to do this now, so that it's not a back and forth, because if March is not available, we can then try for early April. But I do know in April there is, Good Friday is from the 9th. There's the 5th of April, a potential date. But can we potentially also do a round robin? And I will request then members to, if we send a possible suggested date, if members can reply within 24 hours of that date, it will really help the committee and our procedural staff in that. Members, is there any other comments from you at this stage? Member Bosman?
Thanks, Chair. I think, 24 hours is not necessary, Chair. I think we'll respond as timeously as possible, because it just requires us to check our diaries. So if you and Wasim work with the Programming Authority to identify a date, we will all see where we can slot in, and we'll try to not have it on a Monday or Friday to accommodate colleagues who've got constituency responsibilities outside of the city of Cape Town as well. Thanks, Chair.
No, thank you so much. Members, we are also awaiting final confirmation from the Chief Whip regarding inviting SAPS Western Cape to deal with specifically the gang violence and steps that SAPS is taking in terms of SAPS intelligence, in terms of fighting and curbing gang violence. But I will definitely keep you all updated. And I know March is an extremely busy time, as well as April with constituency period scheduled again, but we will try to make it as easy as possible for the members to accommodate our tight schedules as well. But once again, thank you for being here. I trust that we are then able to conclude. Wasim, thank you. Mr. Daza, thank you so much. And IT support for being online. If IT can just double check regarding Member Botha's account, I note that I have moved over to my phone, and I'm not sure if I've missed hands going up, because I see fingers when people, almost like thumbs up going, if a hand is raised. But thank you so much. Wasim, did I cover everything? We are able to adjourn?
Yes, Chair. Sorry, good morning, everybody. Yes, Chairperson. I think you've covered everything.
No, thank you so much. Members, we will then be in contact. But once again, thank you so much for today. And we will see to engage SAPS in order to make this as quickly as possible. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you.